Hi, best first graders. Happy Thursday, June 11th, 2020. I have some great student work to share with you today. First, we have Alana, who is working hard on her problem and solution from our Berenstain Bears story about managing money. And you can see her working outside on her computer. Awesome job, Alana. That's something we could never do at school, so that's such a good way to do your work. Next, Lucas sent us his Think Outside the Box Tuesday, and his sentence says, I want ice cream on this hot day. Very nice, Lucas. All right, let's review our snap words. I'm going to say it and then you're going to say it. Then, had, that, little, at, for. Today is free choice, so you can do whatever you choose, any creative way you can think to do your snap words. That's what we're working on today. All right, we read the story, The Band, yesterday, and then you read it to someone at home. And today we are going to answer the questions about the band in our Kitty workbooks on page 49. So you need your Kitty workbook and go ahead and turn to page 49, 4 and a 9. Okay, so we remember that the story was about a band performance, and they talked about the beginning of them learning how to use an instrument. They weren't very good, and then they get much better with lots of practice. So let's look at the first question on page 49. Question 1. What did Grace and Jill sound like at the start? Let's remind ourselves how they sounded at the start of getting their instrument. All right, first page, second paragraph. When the children started out, they did not sound too good. Grace and her trombone sounded like a sick moose. Jill and her trumpet sounded like a flock of geese. Oh my goodness. So let's start by restating our question. I don't have a Kitty workbook, but my restatement is Grace and Jill sounded, so go ahead and write that on question 1. Grace and Jill sounded, go ahead and pause my video if you need more time. So how did they sound? They tell us 2 different things that they sounded like that are pretty funny. They sounded like a sick moose and a flock of geese. This is a right there question. I'm taking it right off of the text. They sounded like a sick moose and a flock of geese. If you need more time, go ahead and pause it. Does it sound like they sounded very good? I don't think so. I think they needed lots more practice. All right, let's look at question 2. How did Mr. Spencer act when the children started out? Well, if they sounded like sick animals and flocks of geese, I'm guessing he didn't act very happy. Let's restate our question. Question 2. When they started, Mr. Spencer acted. When they started, Mr. Spencer acted. Go ahead and pause that so you can write it in. And then let's find the answer. So I'm back on page 19, the very first page. I just read about how Grace and Jill sounded. The 2 of them made quite a racket. It was so bad that Mr. Spencer would yell, "I can't take it." Then he would run out of the house and hide in the barn. I think Mr. Spencer needs a new job if he can't stand the sound of that. All right, when they started, Mr. Spencer acted. How can I summarize what I just read without writing exactly that? He acted bothered by the music. He acted upset by the sound. What do you think we should write? He acted annoyed by the noise. How about that? Mr. Spencer acted annoyed by the noise. You could write any of the things I just said or your own, but Mr. Spencer isn't acting happy about it. So when they started, Mr. Spencer acted annoyed by the noise. All right, go ahead and pause my video so you can fill that in your kitty workbook. All right, let's look at question 3. Who is Mr. Vance? Let's look back in our text. Oh, well, actually, sorry, let's restate our question. Who is Mr. Vance? Mr. Vance is, just like our morning meeting, whenever we restate the question, Mr. Vance is, and then go ahead and pause it if you need more time. Let's look back in our story. Okay, first page, so. But since then, the children have gotten a lot better, just as Mr. Vance said they would. Mr. Vance is the band master. He spends a lot of time with the children, helping them get better. Who is Mr. Vance? He's the band master. Is the band master. Another right there question. Now, I already knew this in my brain, but I went back in the text to remind myself so I knew 100% sure that I was 100% sure about what the answer was. All right, last question, number 4. Describe the band concert. Describe, what does that mean? Describe means to tell about something. If you would describe this marker, you might say it is gray and red and has 2 tips. That's describing something. It's telling about something. Now, describe the band concert. Well, first we have to restate our question. The band concert was, go ahead and write that on question 4. The band concert was pause it if you need more time. Now, the second thing I need to do is remind myself, how was the band concert? So let's see. I'm on the second page because they start talking about the spring band concert. Mr. Vance gets up on the bandstand and waves his hand. The band starts belting out a jazz song. They sound good. Grace hits the notes on her trumpet. Jill's trombone sounds good too. The drummer is drumming up a storm. The band is knocking it out of the park. So how was the spring concert? The band concert was good. Do I want to say good? No, I want to write something exciting. They told us 3 great details about the band concert. So let's explain more about how the band concert was. The band concert was great, comma, and I'm going to tell why it was great. All the kids played well. I don't want to just write the band concert was good. I want to tell why it was so wonderful. What made it so great? If you want to add another detail, please do. Okay, go ahead and pause it if you need more time. Awesome story. Okay, let's switch our reading brains to our math brains and review our coins from the past 3 days. So this is a penny. Pennies are worth how many cents? Show me on your fingers. 1 cent. Very good. There's Lincoln and the Lincoln Memorial. Next we have a nickel. Show me on your fingers how many cents is a nickel worth. 5 cents. Very good. Let's move on to a dime. A dime is worth 10 cents. Very good. And finally, we have a quarter. Quarters are worth 25 cents. Very good. And yesterday we talked about the dollar coin, and that is Sacagawea on the dollar. You know what I was thinking about? A penny and a dime really remind me of something that we would talk about in our classroom all the time. A penny is worth 1, and that's kind of like a unit that goes in our ones place. So if I was counting pennies, all I have to do is pretend that they're a unit because they're only worth 1. The other thing I was thinking, because we practice this all the time, a dime is like a rod. It is the same value as a rod. That is 10. We talk about rods and units all the time. So whenever I'm counting pennies and dimes, it's just like counting rods and units, just like we do in our morning meeting every day. So let's practice counting rods and units or pennies and dimes. So I'm going to use a strategy. Oh, sorry, friend. Okay, so I'm going to count dimes and pennies just like when I count rods and units. Rods are worth 10, so I'm going to skip count by 10s, just like that climbing up a mountain song that we always practice. So let's count together by 10s to 100 before we get started. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Good job. So when I'm counting dimes, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to use a strategy using just my marker, pencil, whatever I have. After I count the dime, I'm going to exit out so I know I'm done with that dime. So watch me and then you're going to practice on your own. So 10, 20, 30, 40, whoops, why missed my spark board? 40, 50, 60. All right, those are all my dimes, and I know you can't really see those lines. Those are all my dimes, and they are in total 60 cents. So now let's switch to units or pennies and count units onto my 60 cents. Okay, so we have 60 and then 1, 61, 62 cents. Excellent. So I have a total of 62 cents. 6 dimes and 2 pennies, or 6 rods and 2 pennies. Let's do another one. All right. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3 dimes. So let's skip count by 10s 3 times. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 30 cents. Those are all my rods, all my 10s. And now let's skip count by 1s. A little thicker. So when you're doing it on your paper or on the computer, I want you to exit out as you're doing it. All right, so we have 30, and let's skip count by 1s. 31, 32, 33. Very good. 33 cents. All right, so I'm going to send you some games and some links so that you can practice counting. If you can exit out while you're doing it, please do it. I know you don't have a worksheet with this, but that's a really good strategy so you remember what you counted and what you didn't count. So I've given you probably 15 minutes of links that you can work on after my lesson. And you could save them for the weekend. Tomorrow on Friday is just going to be a story and an art activity. So you could save them for tomorrow too. Okay, see you guys tomorrow.